so good.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
We look so awesome. But we do. But we do.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, we hear a replay. That's what it wanted to know. Speaker and microphone looks good.
Well, let's hear how it sounds from up here. Somebody's speaking in front of you. I'll run that test again. We'll finish on that.
Okay, hold on. I got to go back to the
Bottom
testing
left,
area. Bottom left,
all the way left, the other left.
the other left.
What, reverse it, yeah. That's down, there it is. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Well, that's testing. Maybe a little loud.
It is a little loud, so I don't know how we adjust that. Yes, you do. Oh, okay. Do you want me to test it one more time?
Sure. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You? I think that's better.
Yeah. I mean, because we're not going to be using that. It's for your participants
Yeah.
tuning in.
Okay, so now, invite. They did send the invite, but where's the URL? It's been copied to the clipboard. Where's the chat? It's our first time using this, so I'm just, so I figure if I go in, we can test the sound from the other end, right?
Sure.
Okay, and that's just HTTPS. Anything.
US/J/337 059
337. Search. Seriously, you three said no problem.
You sent out the invitation by email.
I sent out a link.
Yeah. That's your email sent out.
Give me ID.
37.
2705. Okay. 3.
That's fine. Feedback. So I would have to.
That's good.
So, that's good.
Sharing
Yeah,
the
it's here.
screen.
You want to share screen or you?
Yeah, I want to share screen. That will be what we do. Brilliant. So if I pull that up, you should be able to see it. I don't see it. Stop sharing. Okay, share. Screen. Something up. We're still looking at us, like we're still seeing it here. But on here,
Oh, okay, yeah,
we see the screen.
we should still see our screen and we should still see ourselves.
With Hangouts, it doesn't do that, but we just, that's not, so that's okay. So we're good, so we'll just stop sharing. Thank you so much.
I guess we
just take this down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, it's a webcam. He'll share his screen when he shares his resources, and the rest of it is just captured. Okay. More than that, we cannot do. We're going to leave this Zoom meeting here. Leave. Put it on my computer. Oh, that's so funny. So I just thought there was a ghost. And I'll tell you why. Because I could see on the screen that you were kneeling next to the podium, but
The delay.
it was it was almost like it was reversed or something. And I'm like, but he's not there. I'm looking at the podium. He's not there. Like, where could he be? And you're on the other side of the podium. Oh my God. I just completely got freaked out. You can't make stuff like that up. That was really cool. Because like I couldn't see you behind it because it, you know. What a ride. What an absolute moment. Gotta love it. I thought the Zoom meeting was public, like.
Anybody could just click in?
Yep. Lost my glasses somewhere. I put them down. They're kind of important. I did have them.
I saw them.
They're there. Fantastic.
All right, I'll be back before it starts and let's make sure everything gets all started, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well,
knew you'd be here.
How are you?
Seems like I've seen you in ages.
We are on the Zoom. The Zoom is all set up, so
I zoomed for the first time yesterday,
let me just mute the mic.
and then I zoomed again today.
Are you Zoom
I
out?
was part of the recipient of the Zooming. I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee.
Hello, Michelle.
Hey, Scott.
How are you?
We're good. It's just Lynn and Adam right now. We're just going over a couple of things.
Do you want me to mute out for a little bit?
Yep. Well, yeah, we still got like 15 minutes before everybody really gets in and the pizza and all that.
Gotcha. And the microphone selected is the one at the podium, right?
Okay, so what we're using is that brand new Eleiko 550.
Okay, yep.
And we're on the Zoom, and we've got that special microphone. What kind of microphone is that? Some newfangled microphone that we don't normally use.
Yep.
Sound is good.
Okay, great.
So, it should be good.
It's called a Jabra.
Yeah, it's the Jabra 550, right?
It's fancy. I'm really impressed. Super fancy. Okay, hold on a second.
Michelle, do me a favor real quick. Next to the little microphone, there's an arrow.
Next to the microphone on the actual microphone?
No, the virtual microphone.
Yeah,
There's a little arrow.
yeah.
And when it says select microphone, the Jabra is selected, right?
No, it's not. Hold on. That's the speaker. Hold on. It's microphone. Yeah, the job was selected, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, look who I've got with me.
I see. I feel good that Clancy's there.
So, yeah.
All right.
So we'll, you can just mute out until.
Yep, we'll do. I'll
Okay,
talk to you in a bit. Thanks.
okay.
My interview for the coaching, rowing coach, which was a Zoom meeting, but I was at the meeting. I went to ribbon cutting for South Jersey Industries. I had to do a little stop over for another thing. That's on the shoulder to Washington. Like 50 people. That are on the Washington, and maybe 5 of those were students for the Washington. Yes. Not for you, it's for you to distribute.
Okay, don't ask us to vote on it. I didn't do the minutes, and you can finish doing the minutes. But everything's recorded. The link of the minutes slide. Everybody else doesn't do that.
Well, just tell them to check the archives if they want to know anything about what happened.
Well, I will release the minutes, I just need to finish them. Because I'm normally like looking at the chat, now I'm not taking notes.
Is your running coach for the girls in the high school or is it? So the woman is busy in her office and all that kind of thing. Maybe some
I'm
postage.
like the worst secretary, I guess in 2 minutes. But that's okay. Here we go. Oh, we'll just vote on them at the next one.
And then it's in my son's healthcare. What he needs and what's wrong with your son? Nothing anymore. But he keeps getting these notes from Blue Cross because he went from being on my plan, then he got too old to be on my plan, and then he went to like chapter 375, which is like Cobra, and then he got a job working for the state. Health worker. So now he's got his own plan, so he had 3 of the same company, all across, but now he's gone from one to the next to the next.
That is
So,
issues.
yeah,
My husband went to West Laboratories to get his annual blood work done. Why didn't you go to that? Did you gave me the insurance card? He says, yes, because we got like $200 bill. You leave it out of network. They should have told you that they weren't going to cover it. And you gave them the card. They don't you pay that bill. Get the check.
well, you do, because I had the same thing happen with my daughter after she graduated Princeton, first year out of college, so that made 2012. And she had got sick and took like an ambulance kind of thing. They gave her healthcare card, they never ran it through, and they wrote up a $200 charge. So now it's on her credit report. And the girl is doing extremely well, and this is the only thing that shows up on her credit report, so like half a point interest, because it's got this $200 thing, and now like even the bank says, don't contest it.
Oh, well, we
Pay
just
it.
got the bill, so like, I would like to be, I will call the insurance
Don't contest
company.
it, don't pay, leave it as it is now until she gets her mortgage.
Yeah, he'll
Then it
pay
shows
it.
up as a brand new event if you contest or pay it at this point in time. So like, just let it go, let it go. Today was called back because it charges twice my payment. Like every, I added that.
When is your?
I was just. I hear you. Right.
So,
So back to the mission, do we want to be online all the time? And let's move the cheese.
Go online all the time.
online.
Yes, we do that.
I think we should.
Now.
Well,
But that'd be one place.
like our presenters would present virtually.
Well, yeah, right now I presented and we kind of, what do we, how's that gonna work? We're not the same. If
Well,
we're-
you would go into Zoom.
And
You
just
would go
switch
into
it.
Zoom. You would share your screen. You would all come into Zoom. And if you have trouble sharing something, I would be right there
With the
to
backup.
share it. So it could work. I mean, it could totally work. Because we don't.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
Hi, this is my friend Umar. This is my friend
Nice to
Michelle.
meet you.
Wait, Councilman, thank you for coming.
Good to see you. How are you?
Thank you for coming.
How
Hi.
are you?
Great, how are you?
Great, thank you. Any better? I'd probably be out. How you doing?
What a
Yeah.
council person you are.
Hey, someone has to do it.
Are you on your council?
I'm sorry?
Are you on your town council?
Yes.
Okay.
This town's council. This town's council, yeah?
FCP?
Yeah.
Galleries.
Okay.
I never know exactly, because I think he lives in Smithville, but I don't know what that's,
Well, Smithville's part of Galloway.
like, part of
Yeah.
Galloway, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you were running for?
I was running for freeholder for Nana County.
But that was last year.
Yeah, I'm not running for anything now, thank God.
But you've always been on
Running for the
council.
law.
You've been on council for a while, though, right?
Yeah, since 2016.
Okay.
So instead of running for, you're running from.
That's normally the case, you know. 2006, yeah.
Scott, can you hear us? Yes, okay. There's no pizza yet. We're just waiting on pizza now.
So I came right from work, or else I would have been a little more casual dressed. No, not at all. Absolutely not. So Umar is kind of looking at the speak for us, hoping that he'll be able to add some light to what he does with project management, cloud-based technology. So sometimes it helps me, and I have I don't even do it myself.
It sounds really good.
So you guys teach technology?
I'm always going to.
I work with elementary, middle school educators mostly. Technology integration and a lot of it.
And Lynn used to work with us in York Township, and right there now.
I'm retired.
Retired.
She's retired as
You're
a,
retired.
she's retired as a teacher,
Exactly.
but she is our first lady of the university.
First lady of the university.
So thank you for running like that. Scott, who's on
Hey, Michelle.
the Zoom, he's our CIO of information design.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a couple of people show up tonight
A lot of times people show up.
virtually. This is our first time using Zoom for meetings, so.
How many people do you think are involved?
I don't know, we've got Scott, we're not letting him go.
Yeah, tell me what I was going to talk about.
That's okay, so sometimes people look at the archives afterwards, we always check reviews. None of our members who are maybe coaching or teaching or running after their children catch the meeting afterwards. So all of our presentations we archive in that way. So is there anything that you'll need to pull up?
No, actually, I needed to understand what we was going to speak about today. Are you guys,
Hello.
so here's the thing. You guys wanted to know a little bit more understanding of the cloud technology that I work with, or what you can have?
I guess we kind of do things. You do.
This is, I'm looking for a piece of paper. I'm Michelle Wentz.
White markers would see.
Mark Russo?
that.
Oh, okay. Wow, you did a little bit of a drive.
Yeah.
So I-
Oh, that's
What
awesome.
levels?
All right, well, welcome.
So-
Hi, I'm Lynn Kessler,
Middle
right
school
next to you.
teachers,
Hi.
Sunday school teachers.
Hi. Me too. We just had some pizza delivered and salads, putting to drink. Welcome to Scotland.
I was just watching. So if you were, what you do, something like, I don't know. Like, how does what you think is beneficial for a student to start learning as far as computer science
Up there on the
goes?
screen.
Want
He
to have.
also, I don't.
Something like you do. Like, something. Is preparing for your career.
I'm retired.
Yeah, really just on schedule, something you do, or something, like, what tips should I give high school students? Again, that's something I want to get into, the things you want to get into, besides your generic going major and design, information system, what other things?
Are you in the central New Jersey chapter?
Aware of any resources that like students to look at or.
That's so nice that you came down. Please help yourself to pizza.
Is there any pressure for you? Thank you.
We're just gonna wait a couple minutes and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy's smart.
That guy's, we're here, he's like way up here, so you. All good. I guess I think that's-
I had a lot of that.
Stacked it so they don't.
You stacked it for warm? I like that idea.
I just wanted to do some, Tony Petro. Hi, Mark Russo. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming all the way. I understand you're coming from Central Jersey?
Yeah, TCNJ.
Oh, great, thank you. Appreciate it, yeah. Actually, the are dropping in. Workers, so, maybe.
You have some great things going on there.
The emails from the, yeah, it's a good thing or bad. I'm sorry.
I said you have some great work going on there.
Oh, yeah. We're just starting, we just got approval to computer science education teaching endorsement, which we're just going to start, which I'm going to be teaching sometime soon. So I'm trying to collect as much information as I can. We're going to do it in the spring, but it kind of got approved too late, so it's going to be.
So do you know what classes you're required to teach yet for that endorsement?
Well,
How did we know it?
I don't know, but that's it, and it's, one impression is one that's equivalent to your science day, Java class, Java test. One equivalent to computer science principles, which is the other AP test. We have a methods class for just teaching computer science.
Okay.
And
the minor. This is the proposal, this is the land. Yeah.
Okay. Right, take off.
Good. And what I normally do is I call.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm gonna
That and then we'll need to use the core. Principles, is one piece that
Doing the Java class.
and then the method is a class. And then, this is the options. I don't know.
Are those copies to share?
I just have this one. Yeah, so I don't know if it's the final one that got approved, to be honest. But as long as you understand that.
Yeah, I didn't know that the state had.
Well, I mean, keep it.
I did it, somebody make copies, somebody make copies.
Don't get me in trouble.
No.
I know people here, and they'll make copies for them.
She knows the people. You know, you never just get things. Don't. It's always got, the shadow of the phone on it when you're scanning. So, you can use the cam scanner.
You're doing something similar here,
Oh, I don't know.
but you're really interested in your input.
I'm not in that conversation yet, so I don't know. As far as my understanding was that this Department of Ed, they still strangling. Had to be awful as an endorsement.
I see. Well, this could change, this is still.
Yeah, they might have asked you to. So this is the proposal that you wrote?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But I've been that. So that's, that I'm gonna change, I'm sure. So that's. Okay.
Did you want to look at this? Interesting. All right, so we might just.
So if you have suggestions, things to do with it, too much.
Michelle, do you want this card? It would use it more than I would.
I've got plenty of them. I have them somewhere.
You can tell who's the
Because I know
technology
myself,
integration
right?
specialist in
Because
this.
I know myself. This is interesting. I'm not a computer science teacher, I'm a technology integration, so some of these.
White walls, and I'm like, over
Oh, well. It's,
I want to write, but I don't think, it will, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the minor.
Fair, Sherwin Williams.
She's asking one.
So this is- But that's essentially the images colors, right?
I have to get, I'll have to find out about that.
Because it's gonna be like.
So these are the first. Yes.
Guys, use my phone number, you get it,
I
it's
think-
40%.
I think that would be the-
Home Depot. It's like, so-
We're not at that level. We kind of have help too.
Like the Umar, I mean, everybody's with, our program. So, if you guys have the first thing, I'm gonna need
Oh. Yes.
that was nice, that was a big surprise, I'm glad I decided to print out.
Yeah,
They called me and
that's
told me
such a
that.
good thing you did. Really,
Yeah, I
really.
text you, tell me you. They called her, knowing how,
I know.
Harvey must have been so,
What's great is
just
you
what I
got a whole
was like.
breakfast around,
Yeah.
there was a lot of Mayflower people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we in Home Depot,
We have to do the
So,
same thing here.
I was at the Home Depot,
But
getting keys for my door, add that to my list.
if
You
you
shared it out,
out,
but I gotta get the copy.
Sure. I'm sure.
Wait,
like, I
I
can
mailed
pull
them, I
them
didn't.
and ask for
Anyway,
feedback.
so the guy at Home Depot was at Mayflower,
like,
he was doing the keys. Mayflower student, he said he has never.
Oh, wow.
He was a vet first and he was.
What do you teach at the university now?
So, I mostly just like to get one and then.
I'm thinking, we just had this whole Mayflower thing,
I'm gonna-
come to that.
Wow.
If that didn't attract them, I don't know.
How many people came to that?
I'm
Many people come to that.
I know.
We also got it from
I mean, I don't
thought
think
it's
that I
Mayflower,
would.
so I think we ended up having like,
So you
She might have been an actor.
Awesome.
He was almost an actor, but it's company documentary.
Yeah.
So that was it, that was the
That was a
thing.
bummer.
That was the thing, he was really mad because we had a classroom this semester and then his company wouldn't sign off on that.
Yeah, they wanted to prove it.
So, the blow. So,
Conflict
do
of interest.
you want to get started? and-
Yeah, like it's 6.
Okay. What's after 6?
Like,
We just got started. Like,
and I used to teach.
What is wrong?
at a-
Okay, so-
I also used to teach with my shelter organization.
Do we want to just move closer to that table?
I can hear and see you perfectly fine, so it's up to you.
Okay. Yeah, oh, yeah, you can hear that whisper. He's installed the mastering.
Stealth microphone.
So if you want to share the screen or if you just want to introduce
Hello, you're in
and
office.
talk.
Or you're in home office.
Because I have a lot of stuff.
Okay, you want to share the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the, I'm going to bring this over here for you.
I saw the blind.
Because I need eyes, you know? Okay, so basically you just go share right here.
Yep.
And then the screen.
Yep.
And you share. And then we'll unshare when he speaks. And even though you can still see this going on here
Mhm.
when you present. Oh, by the way, this is the new closed caption feature. And everything you say will be represented across the bottom of the screen. And
Oh, you got to hit a louder microphone.
I'm not really talking yet. Oh, somebody else just came in. Oh, allow the microphone.
Yeah, now it will work.
Okay, so there's that new closed captioning that's available. So everything you say is also represented at the bottom of the screen here, but not, you know,
Got it.
on their screen at home. Okay.
It shows for me as well.
Oh, you can see that as well? Nutrients. Who said nutrients? It wasn't me.
So you don't need a louder microphone. I read it.
That wild.
Because we're sharing the screen so they can see. Okay, so Scott, just mute up until you want to speak.
Thank you.
We're good to go? All right, we're to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our November meeting. We're to jump right into our guest speaker today before we do any of our chapter business. So I'm going to introduce our guest speaker, and then he's going to talk a little bit about what he does and give us some feedback and advice and tips on maybe things that students can start to look at the high school level or even the collegiate level if they are in fact interested in pursuing the fields that he has been involved in. So our speaker today is Umar Muhammad. He is a project manager for cloud-based technology for AT&T. He also has a long list of specialties. I'm not going to read all of them, but as you can see, a lot of impressive stuff and a lot of stuff that ties right into computer science and the stuff that we're discussing as a chapter. So he's going to share some of his work experience, what he does, maybe give us a little background of what cloud-based technology is, and then, like I said, provide some feedback or direction for students on what they could start to look into to prepare for such careers. On another note, I do want to thank Umar because he signed in to be a presenter at the extremely last minute. So we're very grateful for that and appreciate your willingness to come and share your experiences with us. But at that point, I'm going to turn it over to Umar.
Thank you all. Okay.
Let me just stop sharing the screen so that we can see him. Okay, beautiful.
Hi, my name is Umar, actually, and I work with AT&T as a program manager, not as a project manager. I did start as a project manager with AT&T 6 years ago, and then they bumped me up to be for me to take care of the program, actually, the whole entire program. What I do is we started 6 years ago with building cloud for AT&T. A lot of you people by now know about cloud. Actually, if you guys use an iPhone or something where you store data, everything goes to a certain place and a location where we can store everything. The advantage to that is, say for instance, your phone gets stolen, or if you don't have your information with you, you can always go back to that storage unit or a space or cloud and retrieve that information. And it's a very important thing, especially for companies, because you have a lot of information which is sitting there in your office space or on your server. And if something happens to it, if you get attacked, you lose all that information. So what cloud does is it takes all that information and stores it somewhere and then replicates. What we have is called data centers. So in America, we have over, I think, 20 data centers. So what we do is, so if your information, you store it to one location, then we replicate it to 3-4 different locations. So if one site is down, you can always go back and get your information from another location. The reason why I joined AT&T and this project back then was because it was a new technology. A lot of people were trying to get into cloud, and Amazon was doing really well, but they were doing well with consumer cloud. AT&T wanted to do a commercial-based cloud where they can attract more bigger companies like Department of Homeland Security. Apple was with us, and they store their entire platform with us. When we started with the Apple project, there were 42 project managers just for one project, actually. It was a huge project. And as a return favor, Apple launched the phones and everything through AT&T. One other thing that we did was, a few years back, a lot of company was having issues where if the site was down, they would have problem accessing their information. So we had a joint venture between Microsoft, IBM, and AT&T. So IBM provided the infrastructure, more like servers and devices. Microsoft obviously provided with the software, and AT&T provided with the physical line. And because they control a lot of structure in this country, to have a dedicated line between companies, to have, like, say for instance, Stockton has a site over here in Galway, and they have one site in Atlantic City. So it will be a dedicated line, a physical dedicated line between the two sites. And it was a net bond product that they have.
A net bond?
Yes, network bonding. And that was very successful. And we just completed our project after 4 years. And now we're in the phase of just maintaining it. So then they moved me to another project. It's called AT&T Integrated Cloud. So we have currently over 200 different applications that they manage in that integrated cloud, and that controls a lot of different things. Wherever you can possibly think of, there's an application for it, and they have a control for it. Other than that, in terms of my education, I did 2 bachelors and a master's, and I did a PMP, 6 Sigma Green Belt, Network Plus, and Scrum Master. Part of the reason I started doing those certifications were when I started in project management and especially on the development side. Sometimes I wouldn't understand what was going on, because a developer would tell me that they are doing certain things, and it would be really hard for me to understand those things. So then I thought to myself, I have to have a better understanding, one, of what they're doing, and I have to manage it better. Because if I don't know what they're doing, how can I manage them? And to be honest with you, a lot of the times when we go to school and colleges, they don't teach you everything. They teach you a lot, but some of the things that you see when you out in the field are different than what you see in the syllabus. And my problem was I was just a bookworm. I was always studying and never had the exposure to see what was going on out in the world. One of the major certification that gave me that exposure was project management one, because one thing, it taught me how to manage not just a project, but the financial side of it too. Break it down and have it into small chunks so I can absorb them better and then manage them better. Then when I started doing the program management, it was another step that I was really nervous about in the beginning, because now you have multiple applications coming in at the same time. It's like building a car. A guy who's designing the engine, he doesn't care about the body or the aerodynamics. And the guy who's designing the lights, he doesn't care about the rest of the body. But you have to put everything all together at the same time, and has to look not just okay, but work and function too at the same time. So what I do now is we have multiple applications, so they are developing their independent component. And what we do is to bring everything together on the same table at the same time to deploy it into production at the same, not just at the same time, but it has to sync, and you have to have certain sequences in order for those products to work. So that's a brief introduction of what I do. Do you guys, would you like to?
Very interesting, because now my girlfriend, she was a project manager at Lockheed Martin, but she didn't understand what the programmers did, and she couldn't understand why she couldn't get the programmers to
Agree with certain things.
And so she literally went back to school and learned programming so that she could understand where they were coming from. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
She got the scope and sequence she thought, but without understanding the challenges and the nature of the other jobs, she felt like she was really
not
you
as effective as she could have been.
And you have to understand that. So what I did was, so most of the deployment in our company in AT&T happens at nighttime because we don't want to interrupt our customers. So the deployment window starts at 12 at night and goes all the way till 6 in the morning over the weekend. And I used to stay on those change windows the entire night just to understand what was going on. Even though half of the things were just like technical and they were just running the code and everything, but we would have a chat window and I would ask them to post everything that they were doing so I could see the steps they were taking and the issues they would have, how to tackle those issues. And they do a lot. It doesn't feel like that they're doing a lot, but it's a lot of small things that they do to make things happen. And sometimes being just a project manager, you cannot understand or see those things. And part of the reason is because most of the time in big companies, developers have their development leads. So you don't interfere with or interact with the developer itself. You interact with the lead and they go and tell their developers to what to do. So that creates another layer of gap between the project management and development, which is good and bad at the same time, depending how you look at it.
Yes, I guess if you were meeting with the entire team each time, you could get caught up in the minutia, and it's the lead's job to parse that down, but it doesn't also mean that everything gets expanded on the other end.
Expanded on the other end, sometimes you have to have system engineers, system architects, and then the design engineers, and then the developers. Leads are fine, but you have to sometimes bring all those people together because sometimes even the lead might not understand what is going on in a certain situation, like say for instance, you're going through a defect or something. So then you have to have that person who actually developed that code, ask him to come online and help us fix or resolve that problem.
How did you get into technology? Like, what sparked your interest in this is what I want to do in my career? Or was it...
Do you want the honest answer or the political
No, I
one?
want the honest answer, absolutely.
So I grew up in England, as you can tell from my accent. I still have a little bit of that accent there. Back in 2000 in England, we didn't have any industry left. I started doing electrical and electronical engineering. And then 2000 came and I realized there are not a lot of jobs but there was a lot of advancement in technology in IT sector. So I switched to become a telecom engineer slash communication engineer. And that's how I started. So it was an accident, but it worked out good for me because again, in the beginning, when I started doing development from when I was in college, I wasn't as comfortable doing, because you have to have the feel for doing development or system testing. You cannot just jump into a field because you get good money. It's not easy. And then I saw that I have a better skill managing people and doing the actual work. So I switched myself to be a project manager. So that's how I got into it.
So the course, so you were development engineer as
Yes.
your undergrad?
Yes, I have a development, telecom, and networking engineer.
So did that require a lot of the kinds of computer science courses?
Yes, actually, I don't know how the education system works over here, but over there, on the other side of Atlantic Ocean, we had to do not just network development, we had to do programming. We were taught all different kind of programs from our high school level. So that made it a lot more easier for us to understand. And then we had to fix computers. Actually, also, we had to rebuild computers back in the days. And I see a lot of problem these days, especially with younger kids. They know how to use technology, but they don't know how to fix it. and I see, like, even last week I saw And actually, a couple of people called me and they had problems with their laptops or something. And they have kids in their families and nobody knew how to fix them, even though they are on those computers 24/7. So that's one of the things which I think we can do better here with our school system, that teach kids, not just how to use the device, but troubleshoot it also, and keep them safe at the same time. Because if they know what they're doing, they'll get less viruses and all those attacks that are happening. So that will be one thing that you can use.
Interesting. I know some programs do require them to still build computers, though a lot of them are using emulators. They're using simulations instead of actual physical pieces. I don't know if that's required here in Scotland. I have to look at that.
Even though I'm a telecom/network engineer, but my teacher in my very first lecture told me that if you guys cannot get your knees dirty yet, get on your knees and fix those cables, this is not for you. You have to have that, you cannot just sit back on a chair and relax and study and think you're going to get it done.
Do you think for education purposes, so obviously you said they have to kind of see the hardware, software side of it, big picture, how it all goes together. From your perspective as somebody in the industry, do you think there is an optimal age to start to introduce this stuff to students? I know as an educator, it seems like we're doing a lot of assumptions that kids just know things about computers. And then they get to high school, like, all right, now we'll teach you programming language. Should we be starting younger, do you think? Do you think what's for those age groups can be valuable?
Soon as you guys can, actually. My first computer course was when I was, if I'm not wrong, in my 4th grade. We had those old big BBC computers with DOS commands, and you have to start early because we want kids to not just learn those skills, but actually like to learn those skills also. And sooner you start, better results you're going to get.
Anything like that?
Well, we've been showing, like, down in West Cape May, we show our 6th graders computers and we make them take them apart. Part of our, it's not like our breaker space, but in the maker space. And they do take them apart. And when there was a computer class at middle school, we did show them how it all worked together. But there is a movement to have students, build their own computers, but they're all Raspberry Pi based computers. Those kinds of really easy modular pieces that just all go together and are way smaller than they used to be. So, I feel like school districts are definitely attempting to do those things at younger ages than in the past, but there's still big gaps. So there's a ways to go. Yeah, but in terms of cloud computing and what you're doing now, I think it's interesting because we're in high school, we're teaching them languages, but I don't know if we're necessarily teaching them the application of those languages where it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we're definitely teaching languages. That's one of the questions I had today in my program. I was like, great. Where am I using this? Like, what does this do? And the girl literally said, what is the application?
So not to cut you off, but it's not a problem as long as they learn the skill, because you don't know where you're going to end up. You might end up in an environment or a company where you just use C++. Maybe there's another company that uses just Java. So as long as you know those basic skills, you can convert them, and then twist, because even though they're different programming languages, but the concept is the same. So as long as you understand a language, it's going to be a lot more easier for you to just go. So even like a small thing. So we got a platform called SharePoint. I don't know if you guys use that. And I have 20 team members now. And none of them, I'm not bragging about it, but none of them knew how to design or make a small even change in SharePoint. And I'm not an expert either in SharePoint, but I had the skills. So I would go back, Google it, find a script or a line of code, and I would just twist and tweak it to make it usable for us. And I would just keep going back online to get different examples, and I'd try them, and something works. But if I didn't have that skill, I would be just sitting asking someone else to do it for me. So.
But I think when they're learning the languages, it's important to have some applications. Like I find the students trying to just learn a language, like, oh, I'm going to sit down and learn Python or whatever. It doesn't do any good unless they're using it for a reason, like using it as a tool. So that's one I try to look into, like what kind of applications can students like do that they would be excited about it to, you know, just not, you know,
More project-based learning.
So,
yeah,
so,
project-based, yeah.
so you give them, just don't give them like an assignment to just learn the language. Make them do a small program that would interest them. So like, yeah, so my first language program was to create a chat app. So we would send text to each other, and then like what we call it, like a Microsoft had that chat program. What is it called? I forgot the name. We all used it.
Oh my gosh. I know. Wow, yeah, I know.
Which one? Yeah, pre-Skype, or you can say like Skype. Messenger, that's the one, yeah. So Microsoft Messenger. So we had to create a small program like that. And we were asked to have two teammates together, and we had to demonstrate that we can send messages to each other at the same time. And then we had to develop a small program for phones, an interface. So it was something exciting. And then they gave us a small robot to program it. So we have to move it, and it has to like maneuver in the room in front of everybody. So, you know, these are small programs. They were like 6-7 line codes. And we were given the idea how to create those codes. But it would just give you a feel of achievement that, oh, I did it, you know. I was able to, you know, make this robot move by itself, you know, these kind of things. So the programming doesn't have to be like you just have to learn it. You know, if they have small things that they can do while they're learning that would be something very.
And when you have the Finch robots, and you know, we program them with Snap, there's like 8 other languages you can program them with. Did your students try those other languages with them at all?
The advanced students did.
Okay.
I think Miss Java was one of the choices.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wondered. So like you know, there are different companies coming out with things for physical computing that also require a little electrical wiring. That's that local robot that I copied you on that thing. So that's like where the student puts, they 3D print the parts, they can design other parts, and then they put it together. They have to wire the circuit boards, the Bluetooth modules, and you know, the different components, the stepper motors, the stepper drivers, and then they can program it using Scratch. I don't know if it's yet able to be programmed with other languages, but that's like a nice
physical manifestation of being able to use code to control something that's relatively affordable for a school district. It's just that, you know, coming up with projects, I think, is really like the big challenge. Because there's only so much time, and a lot of the time you're preparing for the test, right? So, like, I just feel like there should be more entry-level things.
And like you said, that you were teaching the kids how to take the computer from. It doesn't have to be something big. As long as they can open a cover of a laptop, that cover, and they know where the components are, what they look like. That's more than enough. Sometimes at least understand and get a hang of it. And then you can build off of
I ask you a question about that? So I'm sitting here thinking, I was thinking about that, and I know that a lot of textbooks will open up with that what's the computer and what the purposes and how they fit together. But then I'm thinking about currently, speaking of cloud computing, if I want a machine, I just, pick off a menu, I want that hard drive, this size, that kind of computer with this number of cores, I do want GPUs or I don't want GPUs, and I basically assemble, and it just spins up, and then there it is. And there's no hardware inside, except for the machine I'm using to access it.
The kids are not gonna have that feel until you touch it. Something, like when a child is, he likes to touch everything, feel. I think it's gonna be more better for the students to actually see those things. They can do all that. We can do the same thing with cars also. But getting in front of an engine and seeing it and physically touching it is different than
But it's
driving those electric cars.
But I guess it's predicting the future, but I mean, are we gonna be moving to more of a situation where you pick from a series of menus to assemble a computer in a virtual sense?
But behind that virtual, there's a physical machine.
Sure.
Which is creating or designing that virtual information for you. So if somebody wants to be a hardware engineer, you see all of those components behind it. So if you just want to be a software developer or engineer, then you don't have to have that stuff. Then you just run the interface of that.
Scott, are you playing with the settings? Okay. Okay, we'll have to speak up.
I'm an old school guy, so I like to see things in front of me.
Sure.
I better understand them.
And I think you have a good point that just having a physical, even if they never see it again, having a physical analogy or physical manifestation of something will make it more meaningful when they go pick it up.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, even though it wasn't part of my job, but I always see what other people are doing with technology. If I'm managing somebody, I like to see them. I try to do not know. But I ask them, what they're doing, can I see the steps, or if I can see the document. When we make a change, we have to have it documented at the university. To create those maps, manual operation. And we have every single step documented in that. Are you going to perform a change? And if the change is unsuccessful, how are you going to roll it back? And there is not allowed to see those steps. And I'll check those documents to make sure that they're there. Even though the person performing that, they're okay. It's sometimes better to know what is going on. Yeah, is there any other questions?
I have like another question about relating what's happening in cloud to what our students learn. Amy, can you mute your mic? Thank you. So in terms of high school students and understanding, because the cloud computing is huge and there's so many different companies that are handling that, I guess trying to make them understand what that is and how we can help bring that to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so what are your recommendations for that?
So it's still the same old-fashioned computing. The only difference is you've taken that laptop and you've taken this hard drive and you put it somewhere else in order for you to access it. And that's the only change. Everything else is the same. All those applications, how to develop them, how to manage them, is all the same. So say for instance, you have 10 laptops in this room. So what you would do is to just take everything that is on those laptops and you save it somewhere else. And you can not just save the information, you can actually save the applications there too. So it would save you money. Say for instance, now you have to buy 10 licenses for 10 different applications. You can just get one bulk license for 10 users. So it would save you money, and the user can just log in to that server, that certain location, and just access their information. But concept is still the same. If you know how to do programming or manage an application or develop software, you can do it either way. The people who are working with us, they're not the cloud experts. The developers, they're either Java experts or C++, they're expert in certain language. The system testers are not cloud testers. They're testers for a certain application. And when they get into that application, sometimes they have too many, like I said, we have over 200 applications. So we're assigning them to certain applications, then at the rest of those test cases, and we learn those test cases. If you have the concept, you should perform those scenarios and then run them. A lot of things these days are automated anyway. It all boils down to basic concept.
Thank you.
I have a point and then a question. I used to do a lot of work with Adobe, and then they changed their whole software model to cloud-based, where you would, have a subscription and you didn't really need the whole software platform. You could just do all the work via the cloud. So, as opposed to getting like the disk, put it on, install it on your computer and so on. I don't know how that worked out for them. I haven't really been involved in that too much, but that seemed to be like the way that software was going. I don't know if you find that to still be true, that that's more cloud-based, the way everything overall is going that way?
It saves companies a lot of hassle. So they have to do less troubleshooting because they have to just take care of one location versus 10 people who are using. They have to usually log onto your computer and then troubleshoot that. And then the second issue was with licensing. If I would get a disk, I would install it in my buddy's computer also. Technically, something which is not legal. And now they have everything online, so they can monitor who's logging in. And so the data is safe, the user is safe, the actual application is more safer because nobody can do anything to that application. And obviously.
Well, that led me to the question, when you said that you have your cloud storage here, and then there's a backup here, and then another backup here. Do you think that every time there's a backup from spot to spot exposes you to not so good people that are trying to find those gaps between that data? Or is there a way that you actually have breach-proof transfer of that information?
So you mean when the data is getting transferred or replicated from one site to another, or when it's sitting on a certain location?
Coming from me to the cloud, or from transfer station to transfer station?
Nothing is 100% safe. We all know that we've seen so many breaches lately. I got 2 days back a message on Facebook that some of the data breaches over there. But they are secure, more secure than your physical locations. And then the usual offices, and they have small servers. And they might not be able to have that level of security for their data as you see in the cloud, because that's their job. That's what they do all day. So the data is safe, much safer over there. And when you say it's getting transferred, it gets encrypted. It doesn't go like word to word. One thing in second. Like I said to you, one of the product that we had was called not long. So you have dedicated lines which are just dedicated to that certain information layer or that company. So these data centers, when they do that, they have those dedicated lines. And of course, somebody can get into those lines and listen to the communication, but most of the time it's safe. If they know not the encrypted encryption, they might be able to get those data. It doesn't happen a lot.
You mentioned how you have stateside, but internationally, are you growing as much internationally as you are statewide?
Yes, we have data centers. I think there was previous project, we had one in London, Amsterdam, Singapore, and one was in Tel Aviv, I think, and there will be more. So there are data centers internationally.
So not just AT&T, but let's say students in general who wanted to have a little more opportunity to go to different places. You know, it's not as exotic as other kinds of travel, but is it something that transfers from place to place? So like if you wanted to go overseas, you could do the same thing, other than the language barrier, not the program. You know? Is it kind of transferable? Are we all on the same page, or is everybody different?
Again, programming language can change, the technology doesn't change. So if you can develop something or fix something in this country, you should be able to go to another country and do the same thing, regardless of the language barrier. Yeah, you might have a small problem with understanding the requirements from that team, what they want, how they want to build their software or develop a certain application, but that shouldn't stop you from developing.
Most of the countries you mentioned have strong English speaking.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, like
it's
Singapore
like
and
becoming an
Amsterdam.
international language. So wherever you go, you usually don't have a problem. So,
You know, so that- Interesting.
No, that covers all my questions. For now.
Anybody in the audience online have any questions? Scott?
Did Rama leave, or was Christine?
Was that Rama?
I thought so.
I thought that's Rama?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought that was his face too, okay. So I was like, but the name was different, so I don't know if he was on like his son's name or what. Okay, so it doesn't seem like we have any questions from the gallery of faces.
one more thing, when students probably high school level, if you guys could also teach them a little bit more about if they want to manage a project to understand the financial side of it. And if they just want to do a programming or just want to be a developer, to actually go and do some volunteer work or something. One good thing that I had in my degree was called a sandwich coach. So they taught us to, one thing you get more credits, and then you get 180 credits for a degree, which is only 120 credits. And part of that was that for 1 year I had to go out, find myself a job, and work somewhere in the industry, and come back with that experience and then finish my degree. So that was something which was very useful for me. Because initially I was really scared, and a lot of the times when you read something, and like you said, you don't know how to apply that certain skill, you get confused. But when you go out and and you do all that, and then when you come back, you have a different mindset and different way of looking at things. So when we came back to final year of education, we were examined. I mean, they saw what we did in a year and how we are right now. That was also part of our evaluation, gradually.
Interesting. I know at our university, many of our students work alongside taking classes. But there are some universities, some American universities that do have that work experience as part of their curriculum. So it does add like that extra year. And there is still some curricular connection back to the College of Widener, where Harvey got his doctorate. They have a program like that. So it is, but they find you a job that is connected, for you to work at. And it's at least 6 months. I don't think it's longer than that.
Northeastern is big on that too.
So, I know some students struggle with that because they're still trying to take coursework at the same time as being in their job placement. And I think it's tough.
Yeah, for us, it was just barely a job. For education.
Interesting.
Yeah, but my teacher used to come and visit me every month. And we would ask my supervisor also. They had certain criteria for us to be able to go through that internship. It wasn't just like you go out and then work and then come back after a year.
We do have a lot of internships in most universities, but just not that long a period of time. You know, a summer internship, a semester.
So for what it's worth, I came not so long ago, was at a meeting, CCSE, the Consortium of Computer Science Technologies down in Arlington. I wish I could remember the keynote speaker, but he said exactly what you just said, more or less, that when we got the technology, what we really need to do is focus on the soft skills, project management, financial aspects, because they get, I don't recall where who's from, but the first thing they have to do is teach them all of that, like new employees. Technology stuff's okay, it's everything.
Yeah, well,
Life
my,
skills.
I was working on the virus. I was doing America and I was working for a company in New Jersey. And it wasn't a small company, it was pretty small, it was like a $98 million company. I was the only IT guy in the entire company. And my boss calls me, nothing to do with CFO of the company, he said, "Could you go out and find out how much it's gonna cost us to do this and this?" But, okay. So you want me to do that? I said, you figure it out. So I go back inside and learn something in school regarding that. She said, we will help you about.
They even had conflict resolution and things like that that they had.
Another thing, yes, my contract with people skill was also another big part of learning that I do myself.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Before Adam starts the chapter business. So that was Scott on there doing his little thing. Scott, can you hear us when,
Yeah, just a quick update. For some reason, the jobber cut out in the middle of the room, so we still have sound that's coming from the webcam, and it's fine. I might just have Adam, if you're continuing on, kind of address towards the webcam, and it'll pick you up just fine.
okay.
Something dropped.
Something did drop, is that, oh, it became unplugged. Oh, the podium moved and it unplugged. Oh. All right, you want to try that microphone again?
Adam, don't move the podium.
Yeah.
There we go. We are back in business.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I wondered why the closed captioning had dropped out too. That was a little bit of a thing. Thank you so much. Let me know when you're done, Scott, and I'll share the screen. Or you could just
Share the screen. You got control. Yeah, what a good shot.
I'm surprised he.
All right, I'm off again, and it's sounding great.
All righty.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. Well, thank you very much for our presentation. I think that was very insightful and definitely some good stuff we can bring back to our students and share with our other colleagues. So we jump right into some chapter business. First, new members. We do have 2 new people here as far as attending meetings. I don't think we've ever been to a meeting here before, so I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Going to put them on the spot right now. So Mark, if you want to go first.
Mark Rousseau, I'm at the College of New Jersey. We are, as I mentioned, starting a minor program in science education and endorsement and collecting information. Okay.
And
Hello, I'm Ann Cohart. I consider myself, I live in South Jersey, but this is like far. Anyway, I'm a teacher at Burlington Township. I met Adam at code.org. Like, I would get a tattoo that says code.org. I love them so much. And I've been going to some North Jersey meetings. I thought I'd try this one. Actually, no, Central Jersey. Here I am. Thanks.
how long did it take you to get here?
It took me like an hour and like 20 plus minutes. Like, it was further than I thought. It says it's only 3 miles from my house. So I guess that's as the crow flies and not as, the traffic.
Not as the road
and
goes.
Oddly, to get to Rutgers, New Brunswick, it took me 1 hour. So that seems further to me, but it was a nice ride.
She's also brought her students down here
Yes.
for
I
a programming
did.
competition and the hackathon as well.
No, just a program, we got our butts kicked, but, yeah, and I'm hoping to teach Expo come too. I teach principals, CSTASNJ principals, and I think I'm gonna get the CSA class also.
Awesome.
So,
That's great. Does your school offer that now?
no, I
That'll be the first time.
volunteered, I signed a little deal with the devil to get it, and I'm like, why am I doing this? But I'm just so motivated, and I just think it's so awesome. Like, just today, like, one of my students, he was like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, you could have a career in this, this would give you a good paycheck. It was cool.
It's awesome.
We do always broadcast them in some way.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to drive.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So this is our first time using the Zoom as opposed to doing Google Hangout.
Okay.
So you can Zoom in.
Are you on our email list? Do you get emails from me?
I am.
She is on, maybe she's in the Google group. I'll have to look at
I'm
her.
in every, because the IRSVP, there was a meeting last
You
night in
did?
North Jersey, I thought it was this one. So I told them, yeah, I'm coming, and then I had to wait, no, I'm not.
Yeah, there was one last.
So I'm on all emails, I think.
Okay, just because we'll send out the Zoom link in an email in advance, so that will help you, like, how do I connect to this if you can't make it down?
One thing I forgot that you mentioned, if part of your syllabus, if you guys can add like different certifications, so while they're learning, they can also take an exam for their certification, or we give them an added.
That was something that our speaker from Chop Dog had told us, that certification is key.
It's so overwhelming though, like how do you narrow, like I go that library sometimes, and it's just so overwhelming, like I don't know how, like one of my students is so proud of himself, he's getting a Python cert. So I don't think that's what would help you. Probably not. But I didn't want to burst his bubble, but I'm like, all right, well, that's a start.
Yeah, you have to
Well,
start
that's
somewhere.
what I think that it helps. They start to get one and then they get the bug to get another one. And
Okay.
eventually get the
So
one to
it's-
help.
I think, you're right, okay, so you're right.
And then the other kids will be jealous, this one has one, they don't have one, and then I'll want to get something.
Okay, that's a good point. I just don't know how to narrow it down. It's overwhelming, yeah.
In high school?
High school, yeah, otherwise.
Oh, yeah, they're getting all those Microsoft certifications.
Oh,
Yeah, my kids, when they did the Adobe certification, they got the actual Adobe certification for that, and they just couldn't wait till they got the one to get the whole suite, and they would get very competitive for the whole certificate.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, like scout badges.
Yeah.
You have to pay for those, the tests, right? You
Yeah,
don't,
well, we had site license.
I don't know anything about that.
I don't know, I guess that's something we could look into, if there's waivers for students in terms of that.
Or discounts or something?
That's something maybe we could do as a group to have,
That could be like a mission.
when we have our programming competition, maybe we could add something for teachers to get some sort of service
That would be.
with a sponsor.
Endorsement.
The endorsement.
We have to collaborate because the competition's here, so we're gonna figure something out.
Someone's trying to do a graphic design, wanna do something like websites, they're really.
Now, what was terrifying was I read an article today on the Medium. It was talking about how graphic design is, making, because so much is automated that graphic designers would be obsolete very shortly. And, it's a little scary. So got computers drawing masterpieces. So, but it's wide open for computer science, maybe not for
Someone
graphics.
has to
just
program
sometimes.
those computers to do that.
Yes, that's a program. Somebody who understands the art, but it was just interesting. There's such a range of things.
Yeah, that's something we can look into with the certs, is trying maybe as a group to filter through some of those,
That would be great, just to narrow it down, like where's this started?
or categorize them, because everybody's kind of got that same, there's all this stuff there. What do I do? And I think a lot of people wind up, all right, I'll do anything because I don't know where to actually begin with this. So I think that's one thing as a group and organization, we can definitely start to, all right, now we got this ball rolling on computer science education. What information can we put together to help teachers and identify, well, this is a good starting point for students, or this is the next jumping off point. And I know we've talked about what direction our chapter should head as far as providing the support for educators and members. And that's like one of the things that I had not thought of, but would be a perfect example that as a chapter, maybe we need to start to identify those resources. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's awesome if the kids are doing it, but where do they start? Where do they begin? We don't want people to get scared off on doing it because it seems so overwhelming kind of process.
Yeah, I've already been scared off. I was like, oh, I think I want to do this, and then I was like, I don't know.
But it's also awesome that your students are like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I showed
which one do I do?
Yeah,
That's great.
I know, I feel bad.
Something's better than nothing. Just getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, yeah.
As always, CSTA membership, there is sign-ups for that on the website. You will get a membership number if you could share that with us so we can keep track of our records. We are going to cross-reference our members that are already signed up with the national organization. So if you have questions of whether you are a national member yet, that is something that we can let you know. If you want to just shoot myself the email, I have that list. I just haven't had an opportunity to cross-reference it just yet. So we had our presenter. Are we doing officers today? So we've had limited nominations for officers, and some of the people that were nominated actually aren't here today. And I don't know if we want to throw that on them without them actually being in attendance and knowing they were even nominated.
I don't think it's fair to vote on somebody without them accepting a nomination.
Agreed.
No.
I mean, we did online, elections, the other chapter.
And I considered that on the drive over here. I'm like, we really should just do a Google form, but we do need someone to step up for a position that's not yet been nominated for. We do want to make sure that they accept the nomination. So I think we should
So there are any
do a
positions.
Google form and send it out
So we will get a Google form out
to our members.
to our members shortly.
I can send it to them.
Let's say shortly. Within the next week and a half. That gives us some time, that's what we don't have to do it
Well,
tonight.
it was interesting because the other, the central chapter, they had one position that was open and they had 3 people running uncontested for the other positions. And then as soon as they said, oh, we have this position open, then like 5 people said they wanted to be that treasurer or whatever. And then there was an election, you know, for that position.
So
no one had to do volunteer for.
What I'll do is, I remember that because I was.
Were you in there?
The whole thing on it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, go ahead.
So what I'll do is I'll send out a Google form.
Okay.
With the people that we do have nominated, okay? And then I will list the position, are you interested in the position that is open? See what we get back from that, and then we'll vote on those.
Perfect.
Okay?
I'll just do that.
Also by
through
Google
Google
form. Okay.
We'll have that all figured out by our next meeting. Some other CSTA announcements. Remember, CSTA Plus is a $50 membership. With the CSTA Plus membership, you do get some additional, I guess, perks from the national organization. You can read about that, some extra access to resources, priority for registration at the national conference, access to the newsletter. So that is out there for those that want to go ahead and go with the Plus membership. So I'm keeping current stuff, not gonna read over this. This is still our website, our Facebook, Google Plus community, Twitter, all that stuff. Make sure as always, if you are doing some neat things or anything you are doing in the class, we know we're all doing awesome things, please share them with us. Michelle does an awesome job keeping all this updated. There's always good stuff on there, and we wanna brag about the awesome stuff you guys are doing. That leads right into shout outs. So we got a couple shout outs here. First, we have Michelle, who was elected as the new president of the International Visual Literacy Association during their annual conference last Chicago. So that's awesome. Do you want to tell us a little about that organization?
The International Visual Literacy Association is a collection of artists, educators, museum docents, and curators, and industry designers. It's like a really eclectic group of people whose mission is to understand visual literacy, what it's been in its past, where it's going in the future. It's just a really, really interesting group. So our meeting was in Chicago. And you'll see stuff, you know, from artists, you'll see stuff from academics, just a great group. I like it a lot. And there's another shout out on there related to that that's holiday.
All right. So we'll jump to that one. We'll jump to the shout out.
And then we'll
here.
go back to the
We'll go back.
students, which is the real shout out.
So Dr. Jung Lee was presented the John L. How do I write this? Beeves Award at this year's conference. It's the highest award that IVLA gives. It was established in 1977. People have been strong leaders both in building and maintaining the association and have been active in promoting visual literacy outside of the organization. Right, so this is a pretty impressive award, and that's a great honor for
Absolutely.
Dr. Lee. Anything to add to that? Was that at the same conference?
Yes.
Or Stockton representatives were doing well out there. And then the other shout out, this is actually something that 2 of my students were awarded. I had 2 students this past summer attend an artificial intelligence for all summer program at Princeton University, which one was really impressive because they actually did this, and I didn't even know they did this. So they actually went out and found this program on their own, which I was like, that's awesome. But at the same time, I was wondering why they didn't tell me they did it. That was a whole different conversation. But as part of participating in that program, they were eligible to apply for a mini grant to do something with what they've learned at that program. So this fall, I guess last month, they came to me, and this is when they told me they actually attended this event for this summer-long program, and they said they were applying for this grant. They had the idea that they're going to run 3 mini workshops at our high school where they're going to teach some of the AI and machine learning concepts they learned to their peers right after school, 3 45-minute workshops. So they applied for the grant, and they actually wound up getting a $1,000 mini grant from the AI for All organization, which I thought was phenomenal. So we're kind of in the planning stages there. You know, I think that's mini grants are things that you often think of teachers getting, which was really crazy to hear students had actually spent the time and actually were awarded those mini grants. So like I said, we are planning those they are planning those workshops, and I'm just getting them access to rooms and food, and we'll see how they go.
It would be interesting if you're able to invite our membership to attend those. They are after school. It could serve as one of our PDs if we offer them. Or you, I don't know. Just a thought, I mean, I would like,
Yeah, we can absolutely, whoever, I guess.
and that's, ask them how they feel about it. It's their baby.
I'm sure they would have no problem with that whatsoever. So yeah, that was an awesome thing. As always, if you have shout outs, keep them coming. There's nothing too basic or everything we do or you have to promote CS education, your building, students, accomplishments you have are all worthwhile sharing. I mean, I think one of the great parts of this is now somebody's going to tell their students about this AI for All program. Like, not even that, my students want this, but somebody's going to read it and say, oh, I didn't know that existed. Let me tell the next student. In fact, I've already said, I didn't know that existed. Let me tell my students for the summer coming up. So while you may think that the shout out seems a little inconsequential, it may actually be a great opportunity that another student gets. So make sure we keep them coming. So it's not just the same people. We're going to get everything and everybody's doing awesome things. So let's include it all. The national conference on CSTA information is scheduled for Phoenix, Arizona, July 7th to the 10th. There's a conference call for proposals. So they're accepting those submissions through December 2nd. You can see they're looking for proposals for 3-hour workshops, 1-hour sessions, 20-minute mini sessions, 1-hour birds of a feather conversations. They're taking all kinds of proposals. So if you have an idea, you can take a look at that link. It shows you exactly what they're looking for as far as what the proposal should focus on. But it's a great conference to attend. You meet a lot of people. You get a lot of resources. You get to interact with people that are kind of in the same boat that you're in. I know Michelle went to this last year.
I went to the last 2 years, and it's a wonderful conference. There was actually an AI group there. They had an AI breakfast, and they were talking about AI in middle school and the after-school clubs and stuff like that. I thought that was fairly interesting. There's normally a chapter leadership portion of the conference, so anybody in chapter leadership, that might be something you want to attend. It's normally pre-conference, but I don't know yet what it's going to be this year. But the sessions in it were just wonderful. I have to say that everybody seemed fairly well served. I thought it was a super valuable conference.
But a lot of the sessions, because I went a couple years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, are run by actual educators.
Oh, yeah.
So you are getting material that is applicable to what you're doing in the classroom. You know, a lot of times, sometimes I'll go to a conference and it'll be about computer science, and I'll sit in there for 3 hours and I'll go, that was awesome, but what did I just hear? And my kids can't do that, aren't ready for that. That's above their skill level. This is actually other educators, so the material is relatable, I guess is where I'm trying to go.
It's practical. It's very practical. It is other educators. I started my submission for proposal today, so we'll see. Oh God, I don't remember. It was pretty big. I mean, it's not, it's over 1,000.
The parallel tracks.
They do have like a number of different, since they're calling for proposals right now, the tracks are pretty much going to be based on what they receive. But there's stuff where, they're making a big push for K-8, so there'll be that track, there'll be high school, there'll be higher ed. It's an interesting conference. And then it's really backed up with another conference, which like extensive by 2 days, and I forget what that one was called, but I was a little mad at myself that I didn't notice that and stay for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's decent though, so I just thought it was a wonderfully valuable conference last year. And if you can't attend that one, I don't know if we put this in the slideshow or not. If you can't attend this one in Phoenix, next year IST is in Philadelphia, and if you're going to IST, they have the CS fire hose at IST, which is like a day of just incredible sessions, also very practical, and that's super valuable. Can't say enough about it.
Some student opportunities. I came across this, and I know this has been circulating in the Google group emails as well. The Amazon Future Engineer Scholarship is accepting applications from now until January 15th. The student must be a senior, currently enrolled in or had previously completed an AP computer science course. They also must plan on majoring in CS, software engineering, C, or other computer related field of study, they are offering approximately 100 awards of $10,000. So that's a pretty significant scholarship opportunity for students. I looked a little bit at the criteria for it. They're definitely looking for well-rounded candidates, which I think is always encouraging. It's not just going to be, they're not just looking for what have you done in computer science and did you create the best app? Or what have you done programming wise? It's a whole thing. What are you involved in your school? What leadership roles do you have that go beyond just the computer science aspect? So I think that's a nice opportunity for students, definitely something they can take a look at. The scholarships are also renewable over the following 3 years. It's not necessarily just a one-year scholarship. Some local chapter news. We have our programming competition. We got the date finalized.
The date is final.
March 26th. So
That's a Tuesday.
we're here once
Not
again.
Friday.
Tuesday, March 26th. A lot of the details are still being ironed out. The competition will start at 9 a.m. It should wrap up by, what time did we finish last year?
We're normally gone by like 1:30.
1:30, yep. Wrap up. As of right now, just based on capacity, we're looking at 15 students per school.
So we'll get about, all together with programming students, chaperones, volunteers, we should round out about 250 people. So it'll be over.
Say the date yet?
Well, we just opened the portal yesterday, so this is our big flashy announcement. It's open. So we weren't going to announce it in the Google group until after the meeting.
So we can register now.
Yeah, I wanted Adam to have a chance to register first. and then we would let everybody else in, right?
Sure.
Is that it?
So are we capped at a certain number of students?
15 per school. Yeah, when we run out of space, there's like 220 students. About 220 students is what we can handle.
Because you know what email's gonna follow after this.
I know, but I put them on a wait list, and we did take people off the wait list last year. We did manage to squeeze as many bodies as we could in, and we'll make that same attempt this year, I promise. We'll get as many as we can.
We're definitely excited for that. Follow up to that, how can you help? Obviously, if you're a teacher, get your students signed up. The sooner the better, get the slots while they still exist. But we are also going to need volunteers for the day of the event, especially judges. I know that was an issue, not an issue, but that's one of the harder things to do is judge. Having judged before at a competition like this, you don't necessarily have to be an expert and know whatever. You're literally giving the solutions and you are matching up what the students did. So you need to be familiar with a programming language in general, but you don't have to be somebody who can answer all these questions from scratch in 5 minutes and know exactly what the right answer is. You're going to be provided a template on what these programs and solutions should look like. And that's always the question people always have about judging at any competition is, well, I'm not quote unquote an expert. I know it well, but I can't look at a program and know in 5 seconds. You're going to be given the breakdown of what should be included in that program, and the software that's used is very user-friendly and is going to assist in that process. You're also not stuck in a room by yourself. There's other judges there as well. So if you've ever judged anything, there's always collaboration. What do you think? Does this work? So please don't let that concern of I am not the perfect expert, know-it-all CS person, I can't judge, get in the way. If you're interested, you have some knowledge, you can probably make that work. Also, donations for door prizes and awards. We're always looking for those things. We're always looking for people to help reach out to different organizations and groups and sponsors. So if you have any ideas as far as places to go or people to contact, and you want to get involved and share that, that would be greatly appreciated as well.
We do have a donation form on our website where you can simply just, donate to the event. It helps cover the event, sponsor students to come. So that's the best possible donation you can give is to just click on the link and make a donation through the foundation page, and it does fund the program.
Because there's no fee,
Because there's no fee,
and we give them lunch.
and we give them
The
lunch
lunch
and
costs
sticky snacks and
those things.
T-shirts, giveaways.
And we have some really cool giveaways for this year, so I think they're gonna be exciting.
Awesome.
I'm not saying a word about what they are, Scott.
Okay, it'll be a big surprise.
And I know every year the students are very excited about that. You know, my students are like, oh, I may not have gotten as many questions I want to get right, but I got whatever the award is or the giveaway is. So as we know, high school kids in general, you give them something free and you feed them, they're usually pretty excited, and the competition is just added bonus for them. Professional development opportunities. We still have the building CS capacity in New Jersey going on at CSTASNJ. That was just an ongoing program. All right, always being updated, different programs, different activities. They're always looking for presenters. We got that link up there still as well. They will, or it is possible or feasible to present through the building CS capacity and it not be at TCNJ. There's just some logistical work that has to be done for that, but that is something that can happen. They have had presentations at other schools and universities, so that is something you can reach out to them about. Maybe TCNJ is too far, but you're able to get access to a facility somewhere else. You can work that out with them on how to go about making that presentation work. The more PD resources, events. Remember, the jumping off point for everything CS education in New Jersey at this point is really that csfornj.org website. All the CSTA chapters can be found, the websites can be found through there. Anything about legislation, there's resources for teachers. And what I actually found really interesting when I was fumbling around on it the other day is they've actually started to add resources for students. So students can actually have like their own little tab on that webpage where they can start to explore some CS opportunities. That's pretty neat. Stockton, we have our Masters of Art in Instructional Technology. This program is still up and running. Highly supported by everybody in this room. Just about everybody in this room went through that program and have good things to say.
Our award-winning jumping.
It is fully online, which is nice, and the cost obviously is reasonable. So this might be something you're interested in. Take a look. Great opportunity. Like I said, at least 3 people in here went through the program.
We've got Amy online, who's like, you know, woo-hoo. All
We have the coding teacher certification or certificated series through the SRI ETTC program. Some upcoming things. The Raspberry Pi workshop has already passed, but I can get rid of that and keep the other one on there, so that's why it's on there. So we have the Intro to Python coming up November 20th. Is there still time to register for that?
Still time to register.
Still time to register for that. The Arduino, the MIT App Inventor. Right, so these are all different activities. Once again, remember these workshops are made for teachers. The assumption is that you may have a wide range of knowledge, but if you have no background, you can still come and get stuff out of this. But this can also be differentiated enough that if you have experience in programming or any of this stuff, you're still going to get benefit from the actual event or the day.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Because that sort of is that manifestation that we're talking about, where it goes from being a language to actually doing something with the language. So all of these workshops are designed around that premise.
So, and this might be something like you may not be able to go to these, but they also might be ideas to grab too. Like, all right, maybe you can go to the Arduino one, you can't go to the MIT App Inventor one, but let me go check and look at that resource.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, that's what That's what I usually do. I look and I'm like, all right, I can't go, but that looks like a cool resource.
Over the summer, I did one at TCNJ. It was the microfilm.
Oh, yeah.
We have our Makerspace Mondays. We have November 19th and December 10th. programmable robots and stop motion animation. Not familiar with stop motion?
You are. You just don't know.
I just don't know it, all right. Apparently I am.
Like you all.
Combination.
Yeah. This is an event that we have coming up November 29th. And this is for K-8 teachers who do not know computer science or not yet integrating it into their classrooms. So it's a very special event. Most of the people teaching these workshops are CSTA members from New Jersey. So we went right to, our people in the Google groups and asked them, hey, how can we extend what you're doing in high school, down? How can we integrate it so that it is more accessible to the teachers that are going to provide the feeding ground for our future programming students? So we're very excited about the event. There'll be 3 sessions. You can pick your sessions on the day. Please just share this out to all of the non-CS teachers that you do know so that they can start really getting our students ready for those concepts that they'll need. And you can see, there's some simpler things like Scratch, but that Ignite My Future, beginners computational thinking for educators and students. I mean, just getting the concepts worked into your curriculum, even if you're not doing computer science, that's part of what the day is about. So,
And the unplugged programming is some awesome,
yes.
awesome activities.
Yeah, Phil will be doing that one. So he really enjoyed the unplugged programming activities a lot. So he was like, let me have that one.
That's awesome. I think this is definitely important for the non-high school teachers. I feel like at the high school level, you start to have program-specific teachers who are comfortable with teaching programming, but this is definitely a great opportunity for maybe someone who doesn't consider themselves a techie. If you teach in 4th grade, you're kind of teaching everything. So you may not see yourself as a technology teacher, but finding ways to include this stuff in your science curriculum or in your math curriculum. It's really neat opportunity.
And I just want to thank all the people who stepped up to assist us with that day. They're volunteering their time and coming down and just trying to really make it happen. So, CSTASNJ.
CSTASNJ notes. This is just going over the Google group. If you're not a member of the CSTASNJ Google group, that's where all information is kind of being blasted out. You get constant updates about all 3 of the chapters. People share different hackathons or programming competitions or scholarships or opportunities that are coming up in CS. So it's definitely a group worthwhile being on. You do get emails updating you on things. However, it's also not one of those where you're going to get 100 emails in one day, then your entire mailbox is jammed up. Like, I feel like the flow of emails is reasonable and they're all valuable. So now every time people see stuff like this, like, oh, I don't need any more emails. It's enough that it's keeping you informed, but it's not too many that it's overwhelming and it's all getting lost. We have our CSTANJ.org, which is the New Jersey website, which all the chapters that you can jump off from, as well as the Twitter handles are there. Just some more information for Southern New Jersey and all over, but we're to focus on Stockton here. We have our Computer Science Information Systems program here at Stockton. So with CSTA, with computer science education expanding at all grade levels, what are the opportunities or where can students go to further their knowledge of this after they leave high schools? One of the programs right here at Stockton, there's plenty of information there on the different programs, the different majors, the different tracks that a student here that attends Stockton University could take in regards to pursuing this field. And that kind of wraps everything up. We got our future meetings. We have a January 9th meeting, March 13th, and May 8th. As always, if you have a specific topic you want to hear about, please let us know. We're really at a point now where we're starting to try to figure out how we can best serve our members. So we did a lot of stuff about how to get this computer science education ball rolling in New Jersey. We've done a pretty awesome job with the legislation and the endorsements, and high schools have to offer it. Now it's starting to become, okay, where do we want, or where do we need our organization to go from there? How can we serve the members that are now going to be told, hey, you now have 5 sections of this computer science. Have at it, teach it, right? If we can help in any way, shape, or form with what we're presenting at these meetings, please let us know, and we can start to alter our speakers accordingly. So make sure you do give us that feedback so that these can be as valuable as possible for you. And if you yourself are interested in presenting, you're doing something, maybe you're doing Scratch, you're doing Python, whatever it might be, you have a really cool resource you want to share, please let us know. We're always looking for speakers and people that other members can relate to and really take that information they hear and bring it back to their classroom. Any other comments, questions?
I mean, I guess I could put in the form, you know, what can we do to help you meet your goals, and are you interested in presenting? So we'll get the vote, we'll ask a question, and we'll ask if there is.
At all, collect some data.
Okay. Let's do that.
Sounds like a plan. All right, if there's no other comments or questions, I guess that's going to wrap today up. Our next meeting will be January 9th. The guest presenter, we're trying to iron out the finer details on that, but we'll keep you posted. You'll obviously get an agenda and a little, hey, this is what's coming up, as soon as we've made a definitive scheduling of who's going to present and what the topic's going to be. So thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you in January. Thank you.
Right back. I have to run the ladies' room.
It's right across the hall.
But I'll be right back.
I might stop and share.
Yeah, stop share, and then, when we end the meeting, stop. So.
Yep, you can end the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me.
Great,
do that.
thank you for informing us of things and presenting.
So we have, you see, end the meeting? Stop. Pause.
In the bottom, you should see a red leave meeting.
Yep.